there, we are getting into our lender meeting this April.
April 15th,
April
formerly
15th.
Tax Day.
Oh, yeah.
The 18th this year?
I think you can do it on Monday, yeah. Yeah, I was told by my CPA, Mr. Derek, that I could get it in as late as Monday, so. Yeah, it's
Big
a fun time.
Big day in American culture. April 15th kind of makes you wince a little bit.
Yeah, it's fun. Yeah. So, yeah, it's that same time of year where like everything's covered in like green pollen fuzz everywhere. So I know my car, my house, my everything is covered in green.
Getting a lot of use in my monthly subscription to the car wash. Just go in once a day,
Yeah.
wipe it all off.
It's about that time. So if I get a little nasally, it's probably why I get a little
It's
bit
the
of
itchy eyes.
itchy eyes. Mine's been the throat today, so but we'll plug away. We do this for the people, so
That's
you and
right.
I got to trudge through it all.
Back in person, that's what's great.
It is
about
back in person, so this is good. You wanted to do it via Zoom, but I happened to be in the area. I was driving around anyway, so it worked out nicely.
I was eating a Chipotle burrito with
I can't do Chipotle anymore. Like, there was a Chipotle incident at 19, and ever since then I can't do it.
all you doing.
Plus, my wife makes amazing tacos and burritos. You guys seen the Taco Tuesday?
No, never seen that.
So you know
I'm
that
always
those-
jealous.
So you know those are amazing. So I can't have Chipotle. It's a step down. It's below me.
Your wife is doing
She
it.
is.
I don't know. Yeah.
She is. So, all right. So that was fun, man. What we got? We have a market that is completely fascinating still. We have people that somehow have come up with all this money and they're spending it on whatever, and it really hasn't quite corrected yet. Is that what we're seeing?
Yeah, so last year, and really since the pandemic hit, you had all these different forms and fashions of
Yeah.
stimulus,
Yeah.
right? And it did its job. It kind of, consumer spending is what we wanted. We wanted people to go out and buy and to go to restaurants, and
Yeah,
then
help
because
us.
then that pays, it helps pay,
Yeah.
puts money in the servers' pockets, and then they go and spend, and so that's what a stimulus is for, and it worked. However, once all that went away, which it went away a few months ago, which I think was the last one that had to do with the child care one.
Yeah, we got that one too. It's,
People haven't really changed their spending habits, and so what
you reframe.
exactly what has happened is inflation is up, everything's more expensive, they're used to a certain amount of spending, and now what they're doing is they're putting it on credit cards. And Bank of America released some data to state that consumer spending on credit cards specifically is up 33% year over year.
That's pretty high.
So this is kind of my warning to everyone out there as a mortgage lender, as somebody that looks at this day in and day out, that credit card balances, they're huge for your credit score. And we hammer away at that idea of keeping it at 30% of the credit limit or lower. As soon as you exceed that number, and you exceed it on multiple credit cards, you're really going to see your scores start to go down. So it is something that can be fixed. You can always pay down those cards, but if you get yourself into too deep of a well that you can't climb out of, it could eventually hinder your ability to get approved for a mortgage.
A lot of those cards are like 19% and 24% and like even higher sometimes if your credit was bad when you applied for it. So it's that never ending, hitting you up with 19% every month on your balance. That adds up really fast.
Yeah, if you're somebody that continues to pay the minimum, it's hard to climb out of it.
It is.
It really is, because the interest starts to mount. So it's kind of a cautionary tale, but also to dovetail off of that is, we do a lot of consultations in terms of debt consolidation. And yes, mortgage interest rates have risen. However, it's a whole lot less than you're paying on those credit cards.
Yeah.
And, we're talking 30-year notes. We're talking long-term lending instruments versus the credit card that would really, you definitely feel the difference in terms of the monthly payment. So even if you have a good mortgage rate, if you have a good amount of debt that you can't climb out of on your own, it might make sense to consider a cash out refinance through a mortgage, and everybody has the equity to do that. That's the
Right
key.
now, yeah, it's crazy some of the prices. We just had a townhouse that I didn't think at all it was going to praise for what we had the offer for, and it did.
Yeah.
So my guy is going to be up about $20,000 more than I prepared him for, which is going to make him kind of happy. But
right.
a lot of people right now, if you go to refi, like the money's there, and I'm getting a lot of folks that are asking about building their asset, their home, and they're doing things like putting little screened-in porches in the back, or finishing basements, or renovating the kitchens, things like that. You can help with as well, right?
Yeah, so I'm glad that you brought that up, because The most recent cash out refi that I did for someone was a combination of both of the things we just
Wow,
said.
that's cool.
It was, I'm going to pay off these 3 credit cards, and I'm going to take, I think it was $80,000 to do several projects that he's been putting off for a long time that he knew he's always wanted to do. So we did a combination of those two. I mean, you're killing two birds with one stone, to use an old man cliche, but everyone has the equity to do that in this particular market for the most part. I don't want to make a blanket statement, but that's a smart way to utilize your equity, because he's paying off high interest debt and he's doing home improvements that will then build even more equity and basically replace the equity he just took out of his house.
Yeah.
Home improvement loans are available through banks and credit unions. Personal lines of credits are of course available as well. But if you have equity in your home, the cheapest way to, even though rates have gone up, some of the cheapest money you can borrow is against your primary residence. So, you know, I've also gotten questions about home equity lines of credit, which is essentially a second mortgage. Those are available out there. They're really easy to get through your banks and your credit unions, like I said before. But I'd love to be the point man on that. Come to me and say, hey, this is what I like to do. I'll kind of evaluate to see if a cash out refi is better than maybe taking a second loan, first and foremost.
And then before even as you're doing that too, we can be helpful in the sense that we can pull up some comps and give you an idea of what the value of your house is, so you can have a general idea of how much you probably get it appraised for. And then even the key part is, you know, knowing what kind of updates you want to do, right? Like if you're going to live in a house for a certain number of years, it's kind of important to do very specific updates, right? Even though you may not love that hardwood floor, that might end up being like low end of your totem pole as far as priorities go, versus that kitchen that's still pink and all that kinds of, you know what I mean? That kind of stuff. Or you got those bathrooms that are like the blue or the brown and that, So those kinds of things, depends on how long you're staying in the house, and it depends on what's going on with the comparables in your neighborhood. Like there's a lot of things that we can help with before, as we hand you over to Tim to pull that as well. So
there's a clear line of, and it's funny, there's a seam in the table here, a clear line of delineation of what I can tell you and what Billy can, and I've leaned on him a lot when someone comes to me who's a former client of Billy's, and I say, hey, if you're looking to refinance, I would love to get a very specific barometer of where we think this might appraise. And of course you kind of normally give a range, but I'd rather do that than go to, God forbid, the Zillows and the online sites, because they're just so all over the place. So we say, hey, you know, and you've been very helpful with that in the past, and we appreciate that. But also the real estate specific stuff. And I'll just give another plug to you. You know, when we went to sell our house, it was, hey, this master bathroom hasn't been touched. We did a lot of other upgrades, but this is that one last thing that we didn't touch. And it's a big project. Should we do it? And at the time, the market was great for sellers, and it's like, it's not, you know, the juice isn't worth the squeeze.
You're right.
So that's a conversation I have with Billy before you put too much sweat equity or money into it.
Yeah, the biggest priority is what your goals are. Like, what is your plan for the 3 to 5 to 7 to 10 years, and then from there we can kind of figure out what path is best for you. It's really about what works for you, what you want to do. Yeah. We get so many people. Most of the folks I get right now are like, we're going to be here till the kids are done with high school. We're here for 15 years. You're like, great. Let's do a kitchen in the bathrooms, maybe put a little gazebo in the back, and we've got a few of those people. Sure. We got some folks doing like screened-in porches in the back and things like that right now, because the equity's all there. They got plenty of money building in, and they know they're going to be there for the long haul. So we can spend a little extra money to make sure they kind of enjoy the house while they're going to be there. So
yeah, absolutely,
that kind of stuff.
And the credit card balance, back to that conversation. Yeah. As lenders, we know that January, February is that season of high credit card balances, and why is that? Christmas. We're right off of Christmas, and people tend to draw that up. Tax season is when people tend to then get their refunds and pay it down. People aren't really getting as big tax returns this year as they have in previous years, but you know, that year-over-year number is daunting, because you're going 33% from this time 2021 to 2022. It's a big number, so it's just, I want to get it out there to people. Sometimes you don't have a choice. Everybody goes through financial hardships, but keep a close eye on those credit card balances, because that is a big indicator on your credit score for sure.
Yep, and if you need money, Tim's handing out money all the time, so just stop by and he'll buy you lunch and give you the money you need. So
I do love lunch.
The problem is you have to eat Chipotle, which is not as good as my wife's tacos.
Yeah, you hammer that home.
All right, sir. Well, we appreciate you as always. You didn't. You had a birthday instead for the Easter event, so you had the family, which I heard was a fun time.
My son's third, he turned
Third,
3,
yeah,
and
that's
we had a
awesome.
big blow up moon bounce that he enjoyed
awesome.
and all that. So I hope to be at the next event.
Yeah, the next
sure.
one's Mother's Day, which you don't qualify.
I don't. I
But
have
you know a mother. I was going to say you know mother.
I'm married to a mother too. Yeah.
They will be able to cash in. That's going to be a fun one too. We're working with Hook and Vine on that one, so it'll be a fun one.
Nice.
And you can take care of the wife for that one. So should be able to get. I think Tori's kind of organizing that one, so you know there'll be some alcohol involved.
Stay tuned for details.
Stay tuned for details. But then the one after that's Father's Day, and your father, and have a father. So that one, yeah.
I'm a great father. I would
Great.
say.
Hey, you had a birthday party. So,
Yeah.
you know. Bad fathers don't even celebrate the kid's birthday. So.
Yeah, we don't talk about that. They're the ones that have high credit card balances.
All right, sir. We appreciate your help once again this month.
Thank you.
As always, we want to be sure we're helping. If you have any specific questions that pertain to your life in general, let us know. We're here to field any questions you may have. You can hit us up. We're all over social media. We have websites.
Loanswithtim.com.
Loanswithtim.com. And you can email or call me. Just Google me. I'm everywhere. Anyway, we appreciate your time.
That's a big time. Just Google. I
Just
love
Google me. Google me up
That's
on the Google machine.
that.
All right, folks. Thank you very much.